thermocol which is burning, yaar. He built a thermocol which is burning, yaar.
Those were the exciting times.
Hi, it is a very exciting time for us here at Shobiz. It's been 50 years since my father launched Rexona in 1974. It was a very early time in the events industry. Actually, it was the first corporate launch ever to be done in India. My father was, used to do a lot of wedding decorations, English theatre. In fact, he did Jesus Christ Superstar in 1973 with Alec. And both Alec and he, over the years, launched many products for Hindustan Lever. Alec was the CEO of Lintas at that time. And in 1974, Rexona was the first launch that they both did together. It was a very unique kind of launch. And just to kind of go back and think about it, it was the first time that a carousel projector was used, where they managed to make one slide of the Rexona pack. And put it up there. They used a white piece of cloth because there was no screen material at that time. And before that, always, packs were sent out to people in the audience, and people saw the new pack and said, let's launch it. But this was the first time when it was announced that, hey, we're about to launch the new Rexona pack. They showed it in this big screen with one slide and kind of the Rexona pack. And that became the starting point of Hindustan Lever's relationship and the journey of 50 years that happened. They continued their solid relationship during the 70s and 80s, launching Liril with Karen again many years back. I might be maybe a 8-10-year-old kid, but there was a huge ad that came out with Liril and Karen and her in a waterfall for the first time that ad was shot. Mr. Rehmat Ali was asked to recreate that entire scenario live at the launch of Liril for the Hindustan Lever Limited, as it was called during that time. And he again, when people were walking into the event, he built these rocks through thermocol and put up a screen material. Screen had kind of come in by then, and created a loop of the same shot of Karen in the waterfall. And when people were walking in, they literally in front of them saw this image of Karen and the whole Liril theme over there. So these were the shockers that happened. The launch of Surf and Lalita Ji, again, a big thing that happened in the 80s. That created a big effect of what it was. So multiple events. And actually, when he launched Shobiz as a brand in 1982, Hindustan Lever Limited, from a corporate side, was his only client. He was working with them day in and day out with lots of events, lots of conferences, lots of launches. I think, it's been this beautiful journey for all of us. I know my team over here and many more people through the ages of Shobiz, everyone who who is in Shobiz today, and people who've come and gone. Everybody must have worked on a Levers event. I think it's been this fabulous journey. We're celebrating 50 years right now. And I'm going to ask some of my colleagues to talk about some of the work that they did during the 90s when they joined Shobiz for Levers.
I joined Shobiz in 97. And by around that time, there was a change which had already started appearing. So most of though Hindustan Lever was our client, but we had a mediator in the middle, which were the advertising agencies. Now, advertising agencies eventually used to come up with the campaign and then tell us that you should do something. And maybe they used to instruct us also, like, this is how things have to be done. But over time, that had started changing. Even the client started recognizing, why do I have the agency, the advertising agency in the middle? Why don't I get directly to the actual event agency and start speaking to them? So that's when we then we were expected that we should be designing their logos, we should be designing the entire flow. The client chose to believe that, you are the experts in what happens on ground. So therefore, why don't you plan the entire thing? I think it will turn out to be much more efficient and meaningful. It will address whatever things they wanted to make happen. And that was the time also there was a lot of meaning, this whole thing of how can you bring the element of surprise. That was partly our basic premise on any brand launch. Like, when the sales force comes in, we have to kind of really charge them up, because they already know that this is something that they'll have to eventually sell in the market. That is one day when they are supposed to get surprised and wowed out of their minds. So therefore, this whole elaborate staging was like a given thing. Coming up with a logo which kind of inspires them, that will be the thing that they will carry over from that event, and that will become, let's say, the campaign line for promoting that product within their sales force. Those became very important kind of things. So one of the examples for me would be, there was this, it was now slowly they were also moving away from doing single brand launches into multi-brand launches. So Passion for Growth was one such launch conference. It was a multi-city thing, which they always used to do back-to-back, 4 cities immediately. And there were 6 brands involved within that launch. So imagine 6 brands, and as diverse as one being a toothpaste, another being a hand cream, another is, let's say, a soap, one is a detergent. All of this put together, you're like, but when people come into the room, the theme that they are supposed to understand is passion for growth, after which they will realize what are those things which will drive the growth. Therefore, they will show you those 5 brands. So people are supposed to feel the moment they come in that they shouldn't be able to recognize what is where. You should change the whole meaning. Obviously, all of these events used to be mostly inside 5-star hotel ballrooms, which, as everybody knows, they still today look like wedding venues. So how to completely change the entire look and feel to what the theme is, and then establish whatever else that you need to do and still fit 400 odd people into a room was like mostly the challenge that was dealt with. So automatically layouts, intricate layouts, trying to fit the same thing back to back in multiple venues in different cities, ensuring how the product or the entire setup kind of moves into another city. It should not be completely different. And all of this imagery, all of this process of doing drama, let's say, and getting the audience involved. That was one of the first time, maybe even in the industry, I don't think the word of audience engagement had not come about, which Hindustan Lever at that point of time had kind of started telling the clients, that started telling us to kind of, generate excitement by getting the audience involved. Let them do things within this to trigger the launch, to maybe trigger the entire, there was in this case a large mashal that needed to be lit, almost like personifying the passion that they individually have and have had over the many years.
My first big launch that I remembered was the Pepsodent tooth powder launch, where a robotic arm, if you some of them might not believe, but yeah, a robotic arm was used. Of course, here it was powered manually, so there were no motors available.
And we're still talking about 90s.
Yes, we are talking about, this is 97.
Wow.
This is early 97. I mean, you can Google when was the powder launch, but I remember this was the 97 thing, and we had actually the stage split open, and a huge 6 feet dummy of the Pepsodent powder had emerged. There was a cantilevered robotic arm that was used. And
but
then,
there was nothing robotic about it. It was
to the world. I mean, the magician always, the audience always looks at the magic, like, and they keep wondering, how did that happen? How did a pack come out and it's hovering over the people in the front?
But you worked a lot with Rehmat Bhai, Dad, on a lot of R&D during these launches, right? Talk about some of that. I think not the front end, but the amount of work that actually went on in the workshops.
One of that is me and Tejpal had worked on this Kapdo Ki Barat. So this was basically for the launch of a soap. So I think, do you have that other picture there with you, where the product reveal is also visible? It was OK soap. So
We'll find it.
Is OK soap still in the market?
So yeah, this was
done.
basically OK, which was a Tata brand taken over by HUL.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so it was more of I mean, of course, it was meant for internal audience. So a lot of it was Yado Ki Barat ka takeoff, which was Kapro Ki Barat, and at that point of time, the launches had to go with what the television commercial, launch commercial would be.
Right.
In the commercial, they had like heaps of clothes which basically just disappear.
Like a vacuum.
Like, you know, somebody is just vacuumed and the product appears, and we had to replicate that same thing on ground. So that's where me and Tejpal, I think Tejpal, maybe you want to talk more about the...
Yeah, so it is basically the same to replicate how a vacuum suction thing works during the advertisement. So we created, you know, we used to call it, you know, the elephant's trunk. So there was one pipe which was coming from behind the set and coming down. And this entire product was covered with all dirty clothes. And when the launch happened and the lights went down, we were supposed to show that it's going inside so nobody can figure out what it is. So the pipe was covered with the same color with the backdrop, and there were 5 people behind with a rassi and trying to pull the cloth inside just to show the effect.
We had motorized the whole mechanism.
Finally.
it was, I mean, the manual pull was a backup, but the entire thing was motorized. You know, while doing the R&D, we realized what kind of clothing, because it had to look like it was actual people's clothes, garments, and the ad talked about, you know, let it be heaps of clothing with this OK soap. Everything can vanish within seconds. That was, but yeah, actually, so R&D, matlab, we actually had to sit and see which, like, will pants work, or will lungis work, will saris work,
Silk
or
work,
will
cotton work.
Because everything had to go through this hose pipe, and obviously these things could not be shown. So for the people, it was again magic. You see this heap of clothes, and then suddenly it's going. Where it's going, the hathi ka soond or the was not supposed to be visible.
Right.
I mean, it's not visible in the picture.
It was
you can
masked
see.
and kept behind, and
Yeah,
everything was going
so
inside.
that was one, and then I think the other one, which maybe was how I think this is when Surf Excel was came back strongly, and that's when we had to take the sales force into the field. And so that was a big exercise. We had taken huge ground. Like Film City was the place where the thing was done. That event would start at the morning.
Daag Achhe Hai kind of a campaign.
Yeah,
right?
so it was
Because,
no name.
That came much later.
Thing was that the audience,
No, Daag Achhe is not. I mean, this is basically.
the sales force has to realize that how many stains can only Surf Excel can remove.
Right, right.
So therefore, this
He's
whole
got
track
a-
which he created,
Yeah.
which basically was like an army drill scenario for
So
him.
we had Tom Alter, who had come dressed as a general, and the entire sales force was assembled on the
So
helicopter
this is
ground.
so much of experiential work where the word
Yes.
experiential came,
So-
I guess, 10 years back, but we are talking about these
Yeah.
kind of experiences
Yeah, the
that were created
correct.
for Hindustan
So
Lever
you actually
in the
we create-
90s and
yes,
to
we-
early 2000s. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
like
Exactly,
20
that's what
years,
it's-
25
20 years before, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was coming to. This
Yeah.
is late 90s. This is
Yeah.
not even in the. We have not yet crossed the 99
The millennials.
2000. This is late 90s. Is when this was designed, and we had worked this out, and outdoor locations across India.
Right.
In Mumbai, it was at the Film City. The entire Film City was blocked, and there's a high landing there from where you can see.
Helicopter.
Yeah, you see Hiranandan and stuff. So that's
one,
where.
right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So
Yeah.
if you see this Tom Alter,
Yeah, we
and
should-
then
we
that's
should
the assembly of
Just
people.
saw something like this to them. It was crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and then basically, I mean, maybe later you can zoom into the pictures and show how we had erected and created the whole scenario like a battleground. So the entire sales force is divided into various, and everybody gets a clue of how you can kill the competition. And the competition is also existing over there as, so the competition is throwing coffee powder or sauce or, you know, ketchup on the overalls, and these guys have to go through that, blast the competition out. So it was fun. A full half day of that, and then you meet at a banquet hall
For the launch.
over dinner and drinks is where you then talk about the different attributes.
The first one, I just to remember, which was the first one that we did directly with levers? It was that big thing that we did for rural, which we did the whole Mela setup, right? Wasn't that the first one that we ever did directly?
Correct.
Creative.
I think that was the time when
98 or 99, I think it was.
Hindustan Lever Limited had suddenly decided that they now should go rural. Rural is the place to be for more growth, and therefore sachets had started appearing in the market. And not started appearing, they launched it, and we launched it for them. And they wanted us to create now these large elaborate setups in large open fields where you kind of create a village heart, and where these kind of products will be bought by people.
When we started working, it was 90% of our business was Unilever. So everything that we actually learned over a period of time, from just putting up paintings and decor, from moving there, from just managing the stage to getting into more technical, more getting into experiential, is all part of what we've learned with levers. Lux, I think so, launched their shampoo, which was black and white. That was the first time that we did something which is now called activation. So with the pack, they were giving gold coins, and they had Ravina and I think so Karishma as their brand ambassadors. And then post the launch happened, they wanted to create a buzz in the cities. So then there was a gold coin that was put inside the bar that people bought. It was just like a wrapper, and then we had to actually take them into these 7 or 8 houses as an experiential marketing and as an activation, where people went, we went with them. The brand ambassadors actually went into the houses of these people and gave them the gold coin. So it is not only just the production and what we did inside the banquet hall. We moved into what we thought was stage management, to event management, to experiential marketing, and all of this has been activation, all bundled in one into a brand which was Unilever, can be Hindustan Lever originally. And the funny thing is, every year January they had these finicky things in their mind. Each brand manager said कि मेरे को 2 तारीख को ही शो करने का है, तो ही मेरा शो लॉन्च अच्छा होगा. They had specific hotels that they wanted to go. So Unilever, being Unilever, was still very Hindustan Lever, very connected to India in terms of specialty. They had their own thing of second ko launch karenge, third. So I think for 7-8 years, our New Year's were actually traveling, and the next day was an event that was happening, and
we always used to negotiate with each other who's going to go for this one, because who's going to miss the New Year's this year around. Yeah, I remember that.
So being an MNC, but very connected to what rural India and what India had in terms of the talent that they had, in terms of the people who worked, and obviously that's how they connected to the consumers that were there. The story in Hindustan Lever at that point of time, if you can be the best person coming out of an IMA, B, but the first 3 years you have to go onto the field and do sales. Unless you go on the field and sell in the rural market, you're not allowed to enter the head office and sit over there. And that's how I think so they have created the maximum number of managing directors and CEOs and CXOs over there.
Yeah, I mean, and this continued through the 2000s, and actually, even now, I think this quarter, strangely, Unilever is still our number 1 client with most of the events that we're doing with them. A few things that always continued to be, and I know all of you all have done this, is the chairman's review, right? From the time I joined, every chairman used to do a review, bigger, better than the previous one. There used to be global Unilever chairman's review that happened, and we continue to do that conference again for forever. The amount of you can imagine, it is different chairmen that have come over the years, from Dr. Ganguly to Keki Dadi Seth to Vindi Banga to Harish Manwani to Sanjeev. It's just the amount of work that goes into putting those events together.
It will be much simpler, I will not name the chairman who was there. The first time, laptops came into being,
yes.
And the chairman wanted to, do his presentation on a laptop, but he just couldn't figure out which button to, push. So on the laptop, we had to make a cover with just one small cut. So he knew exactly where he had to put his finger
Yeah,
down.
because there was no remotes and all
remote
at that time to do that. I remember that, the first
as
one.
he said, no, we started with the carousel and then there were
Yes.
3-gun projectors.
Yes.
So
Then there
as
were
technology
laptops.
kept
The
changing.
3-gun projectors were the worst. Meaning, I remember rehearsal means that trying to get the right skin tone with CMYK as like our
RGB.
or RGB as our.
Of course,
our,
if you're launching a Fair and Lovely, you have to show the right skin on the screen.
Fair and the Lovely.
That's right.
It is, yes.
Yeah, Chairman's Report, I think, it started from there when we
Yes.
started. Just one projector and one screen moved to laptops, and then obviously it's
So
become very high tech.
from a 3-gun projector to these launches for Salesforce, coming into the consumer with the drones.
Yes.
From
Yes.
3 drones to drones.
They have seen all.
Yes.
Seen everything.
So you want to put something on the
yeah,
drone,
like
how drone was used.
last year the Cornetto
Yeah,
The drone show.
launch for double chocolate.
double chocolate.
Cornetto double chocolate launch.
Yes.
So therefore that itself was
There were
one
about
of those
500
type of-
drones up in the air. Yeah. So and I think the good part with I think with Hindustan Unilever has always been that they've always been supportive of new technology, new changes. They like new creativity. You know, every time you go to them and say, let's do something ahead of its time, you've always had the marketing people and the team people getting up and saying, let's do it. And they were very part of that whole, you know, the involved as completely involved. Like there used to be brand managers in Unilever, Hindustan Unilever, standing with us through the night when we were setting up. You know, they were all of them there. They were not like, "Acha, abhi agency ko de diya, you know, you set it up, we'll come in the morning." They
were very much
they
part
were
of
very
the-
much part of the process. They used to stand with us through the nights. They used to be there with any, you know, I'm sure all of you all went through the process where trucks did not turn up till got stuck in
o'clock in the
traffic or got stuck in some floods. And it wasn't that they were like, oh, we don't know what to do. They used to come to the border with us to get us letters to
That's
clear
right.
it up, right?
That's
I mean,
Nagpur.
yeah, in so
And
many
then
places. I think
Kolkata, where the trucks eventually never reached, and then me and Derek started.
Making the stuff
We
locally.
bought wood from the market and we started making the stuff.
I think it's a large part of the kind of attachment or affinity to levers has been because of the people who work with them and how they connected with the agency. You know,
Absolutely.
they were so supportive of you that even at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, they will come and say that this needs to be done. And people were ready to do that. The way they kept the staff, they were never an agency. Wherever they used to stay, they will keep you, your people, your workers, everybody is so respected that everybody would like to give an eye and a leg way beyond on what is the capability.
and immediately, I remember it's small things, but you know, have people eaten, have your workers, you know, got the rest, have they got the food? They used to be so connected with the whole thing. I think it's as you all can see, you know, when we're talking about it, I think it's no more a client for us. It's more of an emotion that we live with. It's been our personal journeys, you know, to make us who we are today as individuals has been, you know, Unilever has played such a huge role in our lives. It was 1994. I got married in December, and between October and December, there was 84 days, 60 days actually, before my wedding. And I did 84 launches for Unilever in those 60 days. Multiple launches in one particular event, but there was, so literally when I should come back to Bombay for a launch is when you know, my wife used to get up and say, can you please come and try out your suit and see if it's still fitting, and go to Raymond's and see what is there and which title. It was that, but you know, but every time we did work, it was exciting. It was something new. As you can see, every single you know, photograph that is out here, it is something different that we did today. Today, people might get up and say, hey, this is, how common is this? But imagine doing this in the 90s where nobody ever thought about it. I think, and even before that, in the 70s and 80s, when Boss used to do that, it was just, it's absolutely a great
More than common, I think the kind of work that they did
the
will not get
range of
delivered.
work is basically, the challenge was how do you tell stories in a
The same
real
set of
3D
people.
format to the same set of people, but surprise them every time.
You remember suddenly we started putting up sound at the back also, and you should put off the sound in the front, and the sound used to come out the back, and everybody would turn because we didn't have place left for packs to come out, so we started taking packs out of behind the audiences and stuff like that. It was or bringing the packs down the aisle.
Down the aisle.
It was. As I said, it is a beautiful time. I cannot keep on saying it was.
The whole thing of the growth for passion thing that we spoke about.
Yes.
The video mapping. We used video mapping without using the term video mapping, where the cauldron, which had to light up like the Olympic torch, it was actually projected onto the screen.
Yes.
It looked like it's coming from there. I mean, this was a time when there was no.
If somebody kept history, we would have been associated by doing something or the other for the first time in India.
First time Flex was used
is
in the in one of the Lifebuoy launches that we had done. So till then it was all printing and suddenly.
This is again sometime in the late 90s, where
we must have introduced Flex for the first time, as you're saying, right?
Flex, yes.
Even the
Lifebuoy
three-gun projector also, nobody else had used. We had to buy it.
Yes.
3-gun LCD, then moved to one LCD with one remote that used to go back and it was go to the projector. What Levers has done for us, or Unilever, Hindustan Lever, whatever we call them, as a group, is helped us evolve over a period of time. From what we started with just one white cloth on a Rexona, evolved over a period of time to a large part of the decor that we did for them. In technology, we moved from using, carousel projectors. The first time we ever used a laptop and a LCD projector to 3-gun projectors. And now we moved to technology which is drone-based, LED-based, AI, robotic arm, which you now call it robotic arm, has always been done in the past. I think in today's day and age also, I don't think so anybody would or can manage to do this scale of events, setting up in the night, doing one on day one, traveling in the evening to another city, doing on day 2, 4 days, 4 events, 4 launches at this scale. I'm sure at today's day and age also agencies would shudder to attempt to do something like this.
Everybody now wants 2 days set up, 1 day this, and we used to do 4 cities, 4 shows.
And from paintings to the first time Flex was used, I think so that was done for a Lifebuoy event in Nagpur. Those rolls needed to be carried, so put it in a bus, take it from here to another city to set it up, and then our set of carpenters and karigars, they never knew how to put it up. So in the end, we had to just hang it, and they were loose. But that's how it started. And now, if you see, everybody is using technology and moving from Flex into sustainability and something. But pioneers in what they do, and think so from a thought process and the breed of people, I think so that they get into the system even currently today is so different that they are ready to experiment, pick up challenges. Even if there's some hiccups and failures, I think so they're ready to reinvent themselves and come back much stronger into what they do in the market.
And you'll remember when the projectors and the moving lights started, how we should carry 200, 300, 400 kilos, and how Air India used to open a separate counter for us to check in because we suddenly turned up with 40, 50 bags.
And cartons.
And them saying, "Aa gaye ye log."
In fact, there were a couple of people at the Mumbai airport. I remember there used to be this huge guy who, the moment he would look at us walking into the thing, he would talk to his staff and immediately open up another counter because we would all end up with trolleys and trolleys of
it was
cartons of.
It's now become an emotion. It always was so important for us, but it's now become an emotion. And the good part has been is that although the 4 of us don't go for every event now, but the teams over the years have understood that when it is a Unilever launch, when it is a Hindustan Lever conference, when it is a chairman's review, or when it is even a 10 people small breakfast, we treat it as something very, very important.
It's personal for everyone.
It's very personal for everyone. I think from the from the team like Chetan Handa and Praveen Mahajan and all of them who ran this account for so many years, and today they've grown into more senior roles, and Mayur and Rohan Mane and all the people who've come and gone, and these people now, so many young people who are part of this account, and you'll see some of them talk about it actually over the next couple of weeks. You can see that natural passion that happens of not just the people who are servicing the account, but when you talk to the designers, you talk to the copywriters, you talk to people who does the logistics for these things. You just see that whenever it's Hindustan Lever, it's never an event, it's never a job. It's always a complete different emotion that comes out, and every single person continues to put in 110, 120% on this aspect of it. And it is, as I said, it's just so exciting for us to celebrate 50 years with this, with Hindustan Unilever, and continue my father's legacy of where he started in the event industry, and everything that we know was taught to us by him. But I'm sure he's looking down on us with a smile, saying, you all continue to make him proud for what we've done over the years.
Thank you so much for having us. And many more stories are going to come from the younger lot who are currently.
When we do our 100 years with Hindustan Unilever.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.